Now, the countdown is on to Black Friday frenzy, with some stores already starting early discounts. But how do you spot the savings over the scam, particularly online? Now, for more on this, Rihanna Steyn, the Ombudsman for Banking Services, joining us. Ma'am, good afternoon. Thank you very much for your time. I mean, year in, year out, around this time, we see, of course, a rise, an increase in cybercrime. And the coronavirus pandemic has also meant many of us, much more than before, are buying and shopping online. What advice would you give now? I mean, besides just a general warning, what do you think shoppers should really be vigilant about?
Good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity. Yeah, I think, we cannot warn consumers and shoppers enough, and especially around this time when there are bargains. I think people drop their guards and they are just too keen to purchase those bargains, whereas the rest of the year maybe they wouldn't even have looked at it. And these are now on websites that are unknown, that's new, but because there's this bargain, they are interested. So they are maybe going to do business with an organization on a platform that they've never, ever engaged with before. And that, we think, is dangerous, because you need to check out whether you are doing business with a legitimate website and whether the payment method is legitimate and if you're going to receive the goods. But, of course, people are sort of scammed by looking at these low prices, and then they are very keen to shop, and they're doing it from their couch. And I think it's just too easy to then target people and you pull them in, with these low prices. So that is why we think, we've seen a huge increase last year over this Black Friday weekend, 50% from the year before increase in traffic. So if we see that again, and I think we will, so many more transactions happen, and there are definitely going to be scams and frauds out there.
So first step, try and verify as best as you can about whether or not the site you are dealing with is legitimate, even if it looks legitimate. And I guess before you make any payment, you should ensure you're making the payment through the existing or well-known or trusted paying platforms.
Correct, because that is the other option. The scammers work day and night to send mails, and some of them may be just fake messages, and one or two people will fall for it, saying that your payment details need to be updated, and you think, I did business with this organization or this website. Let me update my payment details, and then of course you're giving a fraudster basically the keys to the safe. So you're giving you their bank account details and the passwords and the PINs, but it's a fake site. So there are checks and balances. But if you are dealing with one of your trusted service providers on their platform and you've done business with these people before, we're not saying that everything that is online is unsafe, but people need to be wary. They cannot just see an advert from an organization they've never heard of, never done business with, and give them their money and hope for the best. That is really, I think, the big warning.
Yeah. So basically, I mean, for example, somebody can say, how do I spot a legitimate site versus an illegitimate site? I mean, how do I prevent things like phishing or vishing and all these fancy terms? How do I check things out? I'm just an ordinary shopper here.
Yeah. So look, the phishing, we hear so many complaints on a daily basis about phishing. That's, of course, the phone calls, pretending to be from your bank, sometimes from other service providers. And there are fraudsters who work for our service providers and our retailers, and they get your details, and then they phone you and say, we're phoning from so-and-so and you've got an account with us. Or they say, I'm phoning from your bank. It's not your bank. And especially if they start asking for your OTP, if they are asking you for the CVV number on your card, it is not the bank. But people believe that they are talking to their bankers. So if anybody asks you for this information, it is not the bank. Just, we cannot draw that out enough. So that's one scam. Put down the phone, even if they say to you, you're going to lose all your money in the next few minutes. Put down the phone and phone your bank. Do not give the person over the phone who says they're from the bank all the details. So that's the one thing. Then, of course, they send emails. And, so you click on some email and it gives some message that, you also need to do updating, or there's some urgency that you need to go and fix something in your bank. Do not believe that. Close that website. Do not click on the link. And then you go and you put in the full details of your bank and you contact them the way you do that. Do not click on links. So those are some of the things that we can, put out there as warnings. But of course, consumers need to educate themselves so that they are comfortable, that they know what they're doing, because the scammers are out there working day and night to try and scam you.
Yeah, and finally, times are hard, but even before the coronavirus pandemic, the cost of data in our country is exorbitant. Data is very expensive. So some of us rely on these free Wi-Fi spots that are created in different parts where we are, in shopping centers and stuff. You should never use those kind of unsecure Wi-Fis for online banking, Ms. Dane. You shouldn't use them.
Yes, we always give out a warning against that. We know that it's not always possible to avoid doing banking if you have to make a payment and you are doing that, but those sites are not secure. So the fraudster can be in that Wi-Fi. They can be logged in as well, and they can maybe see what's happening. So then they'll get all your banking details. So if it's at all possible, do not do it over the free unprotected Wi-Fi websites, and always use strong passwords, and make sure, if you can, that you're using a secure Wi-Fi connection.